start with breaking news tonight. An urgent situation outside of a high school in Des Moines this evening. Des Moines police say they have 3 potential suspects in custody. Local 5's Chanuher has been on the scene gathering the latest for us.
Des Moines. Okay? Des Moines. We covered Des Moines a lot back in the day, man. Iowa, man. Iowa's changing, man. But this predates, the change in Iowa predates the summer of Floyd, the Black Spring. But it's changing Jack even more now, man. It's changing, Jack. The demographics haven't changed a lot, but as you know, if you follow the channel, you know what the tipping point is, the percentage that's the tipping point. They're edging extremely close to that, especially in the cities. Des Moines.
Well, Stephanie, this turns out, I just confirmed with officials just a few minutes ago, one teenager is dead after a shooting outside of East High School here in Des Moines. 2 other teenagers are hurt, according to Des Moines Fire. That includes a 15-year-old girl as well as an 18-year-old girl. A 15-year-old boy is dead. The 2 girls are still in the hospital in critical condition. Again, that information just coming in from Des Moines Fire a few minutes ago. Right now, Des Moines police are still out here at the high school. They have this area taped off. They are still investigating what is going on out here. Police say this happened just before 3 o'clock today. The school was actually on lockdown for a while. Now, outside, police swarmed this area, putting up tape and shutting off streets as they investigated. Standing nearby, not far from where police were anxious parents waiting for their kids to get out of school. The police chief spoke out against this violence today, and so did a mother I spoke with who was terrified for her children.
Unfortunately, what happened here today is just another pointless tragedy in our community. People using firearms to settle their differences.
The language is so important that these gliders are using now because they've been pushed so far into the recesses of what they can say. Like, it's not even coded language. It's like double coded language. It's like it's like the Da Vinci coded language that they use nowadays. But I've cracked the code because we just cover this stuff so much here. And one thing we do is we accept gliders here on this channel. So make sure you join the live stream every Tuesday and Friday, 9:30 p.m. on Ock Nation TV. The link to that channel is in the description box. And come join the panel. Everyone's welcome. Gliders, Crouching Tigers, Hombritos, Sun People, everyone's welcome. So we can get a well-rounded, conversation and view of what's going on in this country. But the coded language that these gliders are using nowadays is deep coded. They, instead of describing the person, they describe the action, and the action is associated with the group.
Unfortunately, what happened here today is just another pointless tragedy in our community. People using firearms to settle their differences.
As a parent, that's the last call you want to get. If something done happened to one of your kids, because you get that call, man, that's the parent's worst fear, to get that call.
All right, and Stephanie, as you mentioned, right now, police have detained a couple of potential suspects, but they haven't said how old these suspects are, if they are other if they are students of this school right now. They are still investigating this at this moment and only calling the potential suspects. No charges have been filed just yet. Investigators are still also working to figure out if these victims are students of East High School as well. We are staying on top of this. We'll bring you the latest right here on Local 5 News, online and on air. Live in Des Moines, Shanu Her, Local 5 News, we are Iowa.
Okay, guys, and you know, we give you more. East High School, Des Moines, 2,198 students, grades 9 through 12. Wow, look at that rating. A 1 out of 10 in everything. We used to see this all the time, but I'd never expected to see this in Iowa. I could see Baltimore, St. Louis. Iowa, 1 out of 10? Jesus Christ, that's a horrible school. Okay, so the demographics. Okay, wow. So this is Hombrito school, man. Hombritos, man. So we got 36% Hombritos, 34% gliders, 16% sun people, and 8% crouching tigers. There's no way CNN covers this, because I think we can rule out the gliders, man, when you got this many, others. Them gliders ain't making no noise in no school like this. They can't compete, man. They can't compete with these kids, man. Like you said, that senseless violence, man. That just random violence. The gliders, not saying that the gliders are better people or anything. They just that senseless violence. Nah, they don't. They may do that every once in a while, and it makes all the news and it's covered 24-hour news cycle for a week straight. But they can't do it every day, all day. like some people doing, Britos occasionally do.
So, as being a parent, I threw my stuff on and came on down, calling my kids, trying to make sure they was okay.
You're still waiting?
I'm still waiting. They're still coming, but we talked to an adult, and they said they couldn't give details, but they weren't releasing them at the time. So I'm just standing out here until they come down. And this got to stop. This gun violence has got to stop.
And listen, man, I ain't judging Mom. She came down there. She heard something happen, and she down there. I'm sure she's worried. I'm sure she's, she's doing what a mother should do, man. But when you see her, when you see these in your town, yeah, it's going down, man. They bring them sun teens with them, man. And 16% at this school. When I saw her, I said, "Oh Lord, damn Iowa, y'all gave up Wisconsin. Now y'all done lost Iowa. What's left? New Hampshire, Vermont, Montana. Y'all, Utah's gone. Utah's gone. So, like,
The following breaking news outside of East High School in Des Moines. A 15-year-old boy is dead and 2 teenage girls are in Metro hospitals. Tonight, students say fear set in quickly as they learned about the shooting.
I was thinking, I don't know if I might die today. I don't know if I might get hurt. I don't know if they're inside. I'm just kind of scared, I'm shaking.
We have just learned there will be no school tomorrow at East High. KCCI's Amanda Rooker begins our team coverage tonight. She just talked to the superintendent of schools and the Des Moines police chief. Amanda, what did they tell you?
Yeah, Scott, Stacy, that just started today just talking about this being a dark, heartbreaking day as we just learned that a 15-year-old boy died. He was shot outside East High School, not in the building, but on the property. We also learned from the Des Moines Fire Department that 2 girls, ages 16 and 18, are in critical condition. Des Moines Fire took the victims to 2 Des Moines hospitals. We learned that there was just a significant response. They got lucky as Des Moines police officers were in between shifts, so twice as many officers were on the street. Des Moines Fire was also able to quickly arrive to render aid. CSI will be working through the night to recover all physical evidence. They also say that this investigation is dynamic. They say they're making significant progress. They say the next update will be at 8 p.m., but they say they are hoping to track down those responsible as soon as possible. They just said this is gut-wrenching. This is heartbreaking. Loss of young life is always heartbreaking. We'll bring you more updates as they come. I'm Amanda Rooker, live in Des Moines, KCCI 8 News, Iowa's news leader.
You know, as I look at these cops, man, I feel bad for them because they don't know what they're in for. As the gun violence increases and shots ring out and violence keeps erupting, they're going to get in some tussles and some shootouts with some son men. And not saying all the kids doing this are son teens, but nobody cares. I just did a story the other day. Cops shot a 12-year-old in the back as he was running away. Glider 12-year-old. You hear a peep about it, man. Nowhere. This story done. That story over with, man. Just happened the other day. So it'll only be a big deal if they have to shoot a son team. And this police department, you know, a lot of them going to be called racist and supremacists, man, over the next couple of years as, you know, the demographics change and the violence increases. I mean, the byproduct of that is the police instantly become racist. You notice that? Like, as more violence and more shootings and more open-air drug markets and more fights and more stabbings and more, you know, carjackings come to your city, all of a sudden, the police just become racist. You've been in this town for 30 years, 40 years. Never heard about racist police. All of a sudden, now they racist and supremacists. Ain't that funny how that works out? Good luck, guys.
Okay, Amanda, thank you. And KCCI's Marcus McIntosh spoke with students who were outside East High School when shots were fired.
Marcus, they told you what they heard and they saw. This had to just be frightening for them.
Yes, it was, Stacy and Scott. We're standing right across the street from East High School at Buchanan and East 14th. Now, at about 3:30 when the lockdown was called off, students started coming out of the building, and that's when we got some students to talk with us. We had everything from, you know, very scared, afraid, they're concerned for their safety. When they came over to talk to us, the look of relief was on their faces. They say that, you know, they're concerned about coming back to school later this week. We had one young lady tell us, who is a sophomore at East, that she was sitting in a car in the parking lot with a friend when she heard the shots, and her immediate thought was fear. She did not know what to do. Other students we spoke with say it's just kind of it has them living in a sense of fear right now. They say they're scared to go to school. One student even told us he fears for his life each and every day, and he doesn't know if he's going to live past a day coming to school here. We also spoke to a parent who was very nervous as she spoke to us, waiting to hear whether her daughter was safe or not inside of East High School.
You can't see I'm shaking, but I'm shaking. I'm nervous. I would like to go get my kid out of there. I don't just be patient. That's all you could do.
Now, that parent we spoke with did find out that her daughter was safe, locked inside the counselor's office. She says that was relief for her, but she still felt for the many other parents and the many other students who were still inside East High School and the parents who did not know truly what was going on, or whether or not at that point, about 3:15 this afternoon, whether or not their child or children were safe. We're going to have much more coming up a little bit later in this newscast. Live in Des Moines, Marcus McIntosh, KCCI 8 News, Iowa's news leader.
Marcus, thank you. Terrifying words for a parent to hear. And as we mentioned earlier, Des Moines Public Schools has canceled class at East High tomorrow. It is also postponing ACT testing for juniors until March 19th and postponing parent-teacher conference.
They're postponing ACT testing. I mean, it doesn't matter, man. I mean, 1 out of 10 and test scores at this school doesn't really matter, man.